Welcome to part 2 of the IGN Top 90 Animated Characters list. We went our usual long time, because that's us. So.
And we're only halfway.
Halfway there.
What do you mean went? As in past tense? We're still going.
True.
Shut up, Lewis. Anyway, 45. We bitched about Tuxedo Mask just being on the list at all. But I think
this is a cop out. This is a cop out.
No.
Sailor Scouts.
No, because, I'm going to say this, okay? These 5 people together make one character.
Fuck you! No.
First off, I'm going to spoil the list a little bit later. Sailor Moon is her own character on the list.
Okay, yeah. Screw this. Granted, I don't think you want to waste 5 slots having every single. But just pick which one you like the best in that case and go with it.
No. Here's what I'm saying. These 5 characters together are so one-dimensional in and of themselves that if you add them together, they approximate a single character's worth of character growth.
So,
Lewis,
1 dimension each character.
Lewis, no.
Are we doing the sum amount? Are they 5-dimensional when they're Sailor Scouts? I don't know how you're 5-dimensional.
Now, and it sounds like I'm bad-mouthing Sailor Moon as a show when I say that. And not really. The show itself was very simple and formulaic, kind of like an American cartoon back at the time, really, which was probably why it did so well. I appreciate the cartoon for what it did, but goddamn, it does not stand up too well over the long course of time. And maybe the later series and seasons improved on that in that respect, but especially the English dub was terrible. And
I'll just say, forget the Sailor Scouts. This spot should have just been for Sailor Mercury.
Mercury? No, Sailor Mars is where it's at.
Fuck off, Ryan! No, Sailor Mercury was the best.
No
Sailor Jupiter is best
girl. I was gonna say Jupiter is my pick.
So what about Mercury?
I don't actually remember enough about the characters to say which one I liked more at the time. But you gotta understand, with me and Sailor Moon was just that show I watched because it happened to be on around the same time as the shows I actually wanted to watch.
It was always. I said this.
It was on before Dragon Ball Z.
It was always. It was because it was around middle school where I was watching Sailor Moon. This is probably 6 fucking podcasts where I said this, but it feels good just going back. It was the morning block began right before I went to school, and before Sailor Moon, it was Charles in Charge. I think that was 6 in the morning or 6:30 in the morning. Then it was Sailor Moon, and then it was Pokemon.
Man, morning blocks. I wish I had time to watch those. But my commute to school was always so much of a pain in the ass that I actually had to leave before the morning block properly wrapped up.
My parents wouldn't even let me watch TV before I went to school.
Well, there was that too, but I never would have had time in the first place, so it didn't matter.
There's nothing really spectacular with just bunching them up together as a character slot. Because
it's a cop out.
Yeah, they're a team. I mean, they take care of bad guys. There's not much character to be had, I feel, in the middle of a heated fight, because it's not so much of how are they going to develop after this. It's more like how are they going to take care of the problem.
I'm going to play devil's advocate on that point because and Sailor Moon does verge more on the cutesy girl aisle toy department stuff, but going back to what we said with Pepper Ann, there wasn't really a whole lot of stuff on TV at the time that hit that sort of middle ground between gender neutral appeal and relatable to girls. And Sailor Moon did fall into that niche, albeit on a technicality in the sense that it was a superhero show in the vein of Power Rangers.
Yeah, I think I think people will be really quick to say that boys watch this in the 90s. They were just watching for anime girls. I'll admit that was part of it. But another reason is because I was a really big Power Rangers fan.
Yeah, it's just Power Rangers the main characters are girls.
It's female Power Rangers.
Yeah, it was
it's sexier.
It was deliberately inspired by Super Sentai, which is what was jury-rigged into Power Rangers over here in the West. So
yeah. and it gave birth to a bunch of super hentai. Am I right, lads?
I'd 5 you.
Hey guys, man, it's just. Isn't it such a loving relationship between 2 cousins that those characters have?
Oh man, that was such bad censorship that we even knew about it back then.
Oh, even I saw past it. I was like, they ain't fucking cousins.
No, Johnny, they are fucking
They
cousins.
are fucking cousins. You're right. Oh shit.
And it's funny because they tried to make it more acceptable to Western audiences by censoring it, and they just made it creepier. Well, anime in the 90s.
So not only are they lesbians, but they're lesbians who are now related. Good job, American Dubbing Company.
Well, at least they don't have to worry about inbreeding. All right, since this is degenerated into the lesbian cousins talk already, let's just move on to number 44, which is Angelica.
I thought you were gonna say speaking of lesbian
What
cousins.
the hell is Angelica doing here? She's the best character on the Rugrats.
Oh, you know what? She gets points off for that horrible PlayStation 1 game that Kadikarus reviewed.
Oh, the PS, the first one?
No, no. There was one that was Angelica-centric. It was like some sort
Oh.
of beauty contest pageant thing.
Oh wait, I did play that. Yeah, fuck that.
0 out of 10 should not be on this list.
Anyway, Angelica. I mean, not quite, in my opinion, Helga Pataki levels.
Yeah, I am surprised that she's like a good 20 points higher than Helga. It's weird.
I just think Helga's the more interesting character. But I mean, when you think
Yeah.
about it, you could totally see Angelica becoming a Helga type character if she, a few
Well,
years,
they
add a few
do
years
have
to her.
the goddamn grown-up
That
Rugrats.
doesn't count.
Well, it's weird because like I wouldn't be surprised if because obviously Rugrats came a few years before Hey Arnold. I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Bartlett was kind of inspired by Angelica.
Bullet point 1. Angelica's design was based off a show writer's niece. Was her personality based off that niece as well? If so, you must hate
No,
your
Lewis, read bullet point 2.
Co-creator Paul Germain created Angelica's person based off a childhood bully of his own. Oh, okay. So basically, you hate that bully and your niece.
No, I
Bullet point 3 is bullshit. She is the lone only child in the series. I don't remember Susie having siblings.
No,
No,
doesn't
she
she have
does.
an older
She does.
sister?
Susie
That-
has siblings.
That bullet
She does?
point is even misgrammared. The lone only child in the series. What is that? What? What?
She is the. What
She's
the
the
fuck?
only child in this. She has no
Okay.
siblings. But like, I don't remember Susie having siblings.
They weren't important, but they were there.
Yeah, they weren't. important,
Okay,
but they were
gotcha.
there.
Yeah.
I remember it. Like his Susie. Was it, the last names were Carmichael? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't
Yeah.
remember.
Remember that dick-headed geeky brother he had? She had.
Yeah.
It was with the glasses.
Only child in the sense
Just like
that
Vince from
that
Recess.
that it's part of how she was written, because kids growing up with and without brothers and sisters, they tend to have some different hang-ups and different development cycles while they grow up. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it's definitely.
They're lonely, spoiled.
Yeah,
Superiority complex. But
basically, yeah.
Number 43 is Terry McGinnis.
As Batman. Terry
Yeah.
McGinnis is Batman Beyond. And
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I'm going to say this placement is fairly appropriate. Discounting everything else on the list and where it is in relation to Terry McGinnis, I'd say putting McGinnis at like the midway point of the list is fitting. And I only wish Batman Beyond got more episodes because it was a good show.
I never watched much of it, so I can't say anything in regards to it at all. So
It's not quite up to the standards of the main Batman animated series, but it's a good follow-up. So I recommend going through the series at some point.
It is a good series. I mean, obviously the fact that everything's new, so obviously like you got to watch the original animated series. You would assume that you've kind of heard of Batman before, so you kind of know of the Joker and all that shit.
Yeah.
Everything was new. I would say. In England, I guess when it was marketed in England, they assumed that English children were stupid, so it was called Batman of the Future because we wouldn't have been able to know. I don't get what Beyond means. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, the thing about Terry McGinnis that makes him interesting over Bruce Wayne is great, especially when voiced by Kevin Conroy. But
Yes.
but Terry McGinnis was a lot more relatable, especially to us back then. At that age,
it's like Batman, Spider-Man.
yeah, it was kind of
It was like if Peter Parker was more of a jerk and became Batman.
Yeah,
That's
there you
kind
go.
of Terry
If
McGinnis.
Peter Parker was Batman. I think that's a perfect way.
Yeah, so it's like one of the few times that that a DC superhero was portrayed with almost Marvel finesse. So I like the show for that. Another reason why I wish it went on longer.
Yeah, well, I mean, like the creators, they said like they wanted. They were originally the idea was the kids WB came to like Bruce Timm and said we want to do Kid Batman, and Bruce Timm was like fuck that, that's the worst idea ever. But then after talking about it, they were like, well, how about if we make a new character? Like instead of having like teenage Bruce Wayne be Batman, they were like, if we set it in the future, we can have, Bruce Wayne be like a mentor figure. We can have a new kid, new villains, and so I think that was this like of all of the kind of pointless let's kidify a hero. This is the best way you can take it. This is the best way you can take a terrible idea and make something great out of it.
Yeah, that is actually a really great example of what I love about good creative minds, that they can take concepts that are at their core intensely stupid and make really great stuff out of them.
One of the other ideas they had was it was like Batman Power Rangers. We had a bunch of robot suits, and then there was one set in the future where it was like Pokemon and kids were training to be Batman in like a big contest. So instead of the Elite Four, you would go and like battle to be new Batman.
That sounds like a really bad prototype for the idea of Batman Incorporated.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if anyone wants to learn more, just so we don't take up the whole thing of Batman, go and listen to the Bruce Timm episode of Batman on Batman. He goes into a lot of good detail about these terrible ideas that kids WB tried to force on them, which is why they went to Cartoon Network for justice, because like, we ain't fucking doing a show with these idiots. We're gonna go and work with Cartoon Network. They have more sense.
Well, more sense, but less good shows as of right now. Funny how that works.
Okay.
So I guess moving on to number 42, we have, hello, my name is Mr. Burns. I believe you have a letter for me.
Okay, Mr. Burns, what's your first name?
I don't know.
Great pan bot.
Well, apparently it's Charles Montgomery
Burns.
So yeah.
For once, it's the rich white man in charge.
Charge, one of the best villains of all time.
Why doesn't he just fire Homer? That's something I want.
He does, over and over.
Several times that's happened.
Yeah, but then why does Homer keep on getting his job back?
Because who else is going to watch the Sector 7G?
You want to know something?
It's mostly because Homer's an easy patsy in case something really goes wrong.
Yeah, the other thing though, and this is kind of a subtle thing, but a lot of less scrupulous employers would rather have a bad employee that they can pay less than a good employee that they would pay more. So yeah. Oh, subtle bit of possible social commentary.
If that's really the agenda, because this guy can't even remember his name most of the time.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson. So you finally remembered my name.
Well, he wouldn't have to remember anything about Homer Simpson, because that stuff is going to be down in the papers, and he probably doesn't even handle human resources.
I love that we're having a comment. Lewis is like, I question. I wonder if Mr. Burns is doing the human resources job at Springfield Power Plant.
It's probably left to Smithers and all that sort of shit.
Yeah.
But Burns is a great character. I love him.
Quick,
hang
the decoration.
But I love it when they play up how out of touch he is with society or modern culture. Like, fucking still uses, I think, for one episode, he was checking, like, his stock market trade by opening up his closet, and it's one of those old-fashioned televisions. And he's just like, oh, no.
The last time I checked this was September 1939.
Nice.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
My favorite Burns gag is still the one with the casino. It's like, well, quick, back to the power plant. We'll take the spruce. Hop in, but sir, I see. Pulls that gun. I said, hop in. That's like one of the funniest things ever. I love that.
Here, take this baseball card at this upcoming youngster, Joe DiMaggio.
I love the stuff like he can't beat anyone up. There's the one where he's trying to get Homer into college, so he pulls out the baseball bat and he's very lightly
tapping,
hitting the guy. Then he falls over and just goes, "Smithers, dismember the corpse and send the widow a corsage."
So what you're saying is I'm invincible.
Invincible. No, actually, the complete opposite. The slightest touch can kill you. Invincible.
He really is a great character. At 42, though, I mean, I wonder who. I mean, obviously, I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to replace it above Burns. But, you know, that just goes to show for the show's quality, especially in the 90s, just how everybody was pretty much A+.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the characters were great.
Good morning, starshine. The world says hello.
He's bringing love. Kill it. Kill it.
But number 41 is Hank Hill.
Water free.
I'm okay, Dad.
And we begin with memes.
That's all.
Boy, I sure hate Nancy.
That and propane grills. Why did I say propane drills?
Propane drills. I'll tell you what.
Tell you what.
I love that the IGN's first line. Where would we be about the plethora of propane memes on the internet?
Or is me in Smash Brothers? I bring the propane and propane accessories.
Hank Hill is a great character. Like in terms of all of the kind of Fox shows, like Simpsons, Family Guy, those type of things. Like the thing what I like about Hank Hill is that he's not unlike a lot of the other kind of stereotypical animated dads. He's not an idiot.
No.
You know, he's just in some regards extremely naive.
He's
but
naive,
he's not stupid.
A bit out of touch, but he's very logical, and he can back up his... You know, because, when it comes to, like, physical comedy, Hank doesn't provide much of that, but god damn it do I love it when he does, because one of the episodes I immediately think of is, like, he was... it was like a punk kid that was giving him shit, and he was threatening, like, I'm going to kick your ass, and the kid keeps taunting him, and he just aggravates the shit out of Hank, and he rips through a steel grate just to keep chasing this kid, and then he follows up by literally kicking his ass. Like, that's all he does. He just kicks him in the ass repeatedly to end the show.
One of my favorite Hank Hill bits is it's the one where like Peggy gets a new friend and she doesn't realize she's a prostitute. At the end of the episode, her pimp comes and the pimp's voiced by Snoop Dogg. It's fucking great. But like they're trying to escape the pimp, and there's a bit where Hank he's getting up to a traffic light, and he goes, "It's okay, I've got him right where I want him." And just as the light turns red, like Hank goes through it, but then the pimp just drives through the red light. Hank goes, "What? He drove through a red light? You can't do that."
Or the time you played GTA, it's like, where's the button to turn myself in?
There's one where like he tries to use Peggy's computer and the PC's turned off, and he just picks up the mouse and he's clicking it at the screen, like expecting it to come on, and he starts getting more and more annoyed that the PC's not turning on.
Oh, that reminds me of the joke in Zoolander where they say it's in the computer. It's the file's in the computer, so they like break the monitor on the ground to try to find it. Oh man. But yeah, I think I've only ever watched like one full episode of King of the Hill, so I don't have much to say about Hank other than memes.
I watched it occasionally because it was on like before The Simpsons was on Sundays.
Oh, dude, I fucking love King of the Hill. One of my favorite shows. So fucking good.
Yeah, I did watch this pretty religiously in the late 90s.
Mm.
Great, great show.
Where's Boomhauer?
I never watched it. I've seen it like in bits and bobs every here and there, but I've never watched it.
And I'm sure we've all seen the countless YouTube posts.
Dallas Salad.
I mean, like, I've seen it on other people's televisions, though, like in the break room at work, or on television downstairs as I'm walking through to get a glass of iced tea or something. That kind of thing.
You're a loser.
Baby want a bottle? Big toot bottle?
All right. Number 40 is Arnold from Hey Arnold.
What?
I still think Helga should have been put above Arnold, personally.
You could switch them either way, I would say.
Well, I'm like in terms of actual characters, Helga is a far better character than, like I said before. Arnold's kind of a Gary Stu. He's I don't want to say he's boring.
He's your Persona 4 protagonist. He's there to be you.
Arnold is there to be you, and I think he was supposed to serve as the role model.
And but in terms of character / personality, Arnold is arguably the blandest of that entire group.
Oh, for sure.
Which I always found deliciously ironic, given that the name of the show.
That's the thing, though, about characters that are meant to be your window into a world, especially when they are supposed to be your eyes. They tend to be pretty neutral personality-wise, because when you give them too much personality, it limits the number of people who can truly relate. However, when a character is bland and neutral, people can project their own personality traits onto them to a certain extent, which is why the silent protagonist exists. You know? Arnold is
Link.
Similar principle, except not quite there, sort of a halfway awkward.
It's just he doesn't he doesn't ever have any of the best gags or any real character development or anything like that. He's just kind of there to me, I suppose. Most of my favorite episodes of Hey Arnold are the ones where Arnold himself has a very small role. Like, oh god, I always forget the one with the kind of the guy who lived in his building, like oh god, I can't remember.
Ernie? Oscar,
yeah, where it's almost all Oscar, and like he had to take care of this kid, and like
yeah, the baby one. Yeah,
I loved that episode, and I don't think Arnold's even really in that one. So
I would say, we talk about how Arnold is the blandest character in the show, though, but god damn it, do I still not choke up when his parents are brought up as a subject,
or when Abner runs away.
I think one thing with me, the thing that it's a small thing, but like it's that they kind of disconnect they have with Arnold went through like 6 voice actors, and none of them sounded the same, and I always found that very distracting as a kid.
Well, they have.
Well, how long did they stick? How long did they stick with the first Arnold before his puberty hit him like a truck?
Which was weird because whenever it was kind of a running gag where whenever they replaced Arnold, they would just introduce a new bully. So like the original Arnold, when his voice broke, they invented Wolfgang. And so Wolfgang is the original Arnold, and then later on there was a second bully introduced called Ludwig, and Ludwig was the second Arnold. And like yeah, and so they kept. It was weird. Like they kept on because Hey Arnold. It was kind of atypical. They actually and as the second bullet point says, they actually used children voice actors.
Yes, they did. Which became a plot point with Gerald, I think, because
his voice was starting to deepen.
Yeah, it broke, and they made that an episode.
Yeah, well, it's weird because they did, like same thing happened in Recess. Used mostly kids. Bobby Hill was actually Spinelli, which is kind of weird. But like, it's weird because like with they would occasionally cycle out different TJs because they wanted TJ to keep sounding youthful, even though Mikey sounded like a 50-year-old smoker towards the end of the series for whatever reason. But like I guess it's the same with Arnold. They wanted to keep his voice sounding youthful, but they never the voices never sounded the same to me. That was what always annoyed me. Like they didn't try to get sound-alikes, so his voice fluctuates.
It was Philip Van Dyke who voiced Arnold,
and he's still to this day my favorite Arnold voice.
It was Spencer Klein who voiced him nowadays, I think.
Well, no, it was weird because like there was the one who became Wolfgang, the one who became Ludwig, and then there was one for most of the series. The movie had a separate voice actor, and then for like the last 4 episodes, they had a different one. I think Alex, the main character from that terrible Disney movie, Max Keeble's Big Move, was on for like the last episode of the series. Yeah. So he's had like 5 actors. So I'm not sure in that new movie they're doing.
They're doing a new.
I hope maybe they'll try.
Movie?
Yeah, they're doing a new TV movie, which I believe because for years they wanted to do the Jungle movie. So I think this movie is going to be that Jungle. He's gonna find his parents.
Yeah,
finally
then they
after
cross
all
over
these
with
years.
Thornberry. He's like, fuck.
Oh, Johnny, his parents are the Thornberries.
Fuck.
And at that point, Arnold just nopes out and goes back to his grandfather.
Hey, Nigel.
Move it, smashing head! Hey, Nigel! Dum, 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 dum.
Okay.
Okay.
Number
39.
We didn't used to do IGN lists at my old school.
Well, you're not at your school, are you, little ungrateful bitch?
Ms. Frizzle, the magic school bus.
She's a terrible
educational
teacher.
show.
Why would you shrink down your students and take them through your sick, nerdy kid? Oh God, man.
And then potentially clog an artery and kill him.
What the fuck? I want to ask questions seriously. What the fuck is her budget? How could she afford all this shit on a teacher's salary?
Now, while the Magic School Bus was no Bill Nye the Science Guy by any stretch, I did enjoy it when I was younger.
I'd rather watch Bill Nye the Science
Well,
Guy.
yeah, Bill Nye the Science Guy holds up much better, but we're also not learning things like how the inside of a body works at age 27 up.
Well, one of the things about the Magic School Bus was that because of all the fantasy elements, at the end of the episode, they would always have the kids tell you, okay, here's the parts that we left out because it wouldn't be as cool.
Yeah, and you know what? Even with that, some of the episodes got stuff wrong.
Yeah.
So
Why don't they get an actual
Yeah.
driver to do driving for the school bus? Like, is it even legal for the teachers to drive the school buses? I'm not.
If you got a license.
I think they are allowed
Well-
to in case of emergencies, but
well, Ms. Frizzle isn't terribly realistic in many senses. For one thing, she teaches classes in a purple sweater with pictures of cheese, carrots, pizza, and is that a burger on it?
She had a different obnoxious outfit every episode.
Yeah, she's got a live chameleon crawling around on her shoulder, and she was a former rock star.
She's a villain in some other cartoon.
yeah.
No, Miss Frizzle would be like, the joke of it would be like, in a show like Hey Arnold, Miss Frizzle's class would be like the class in the other school that hates the main characters of a different show. Like Miss Frizzle is in the early Simpsons. The Flanders were kind of used as just like Homer's rich neighbor who had all this fancy shit the Simpsons didn't have. Miss Frizzle is the different school class version of 91 era Flanders. Let's have awesome shit that no one else could afford. Fuck you, Miss Frizzle.
Fuck you and your magic school.
How
bus.
do they have standardized testing with all the field trips they go on? I mean, Jesus Christ.
Can you do Pythagoras theorem? No, but I've been to the moon. Fuck you.
All right, number 38 is Team Rocket. Not Jesse and James separately, but like the entire Team Rocket.
I'm a little bit less, like, in terms of being a cop-out, I feel like this is less of a cop-out than, say, the Sailor Scouts, because
they're very much a pair.
Yeah, Jesse, James, Meowth, they are all one entity. With that said, I mean, I would have been okay with them being here if they were on the bottom half of the list, because Jesse and James, like, I mean, they are funny, but they
Not spectacularly so.
yeah.
They ain't better than Optimus Primal.
One of the things, this is kind of a tangential to their placement on the list, but one of the things that always stuck out to me, awkwardly so, was the voice acting for James in the early.
It changed early on.
Yeah,
It's
very early
amazing.
on. He starts out with this rather sinister voice, and then abruptly changes to a fruitcake.
Yeah, to Eric Stewart.
Well,
yeah.
if you watch the first episode, I think Team Rocket appear in like the second or third episode of Pokemon, and then they're in almost every
Episode two,
and then
yeah.
they're in every. I think other than like maybe 2 or 3 episodes in the early series, they're in every episode after that. And in their first appearance, they're actually pretty terrifying. Like they raid a Pokemon Center, which that's a no. Like the Pokemon Centers are usually a safe haven, so they're.
Well, yeah, but they raid a Pokemon Center with an Ekans and a coffin. Like, let's be fair. Like, that's kind of shit looking Pokemon to attack a center with.
Yeah, but they're relatively intimidating at first, and then they almost
For one
immediately
episode, yeah.
become comic relief
Jokes.
villains. Yeah, and
I think it was it the. I want to say it was maybe it might have been the Black and White series. The anime makers, they actively tried to make them a threat again. Like they were maybe not a threat, but
Was signified with black outfits.
they were competent.
Yeah.
Which is they just become flat out idiots.
Yeah.
Over the course of the series, like I think recently they've tried to strike a code, kind of like modern Eggman, where he's kind of he's still comedic, but he's a competent. They're competent villains kind of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, there was the arc where Meowth defects to Amash's side for a little while. You know, he was undercover, but like that was a good half a season where that happened.
God, I haven't watched Pokemon seriously since Gen 3. So I think they had an arc where Team Plasma was against Team Rocket or something to that effect. Some people are very into the anime, so I'm sure they can correct us if we make any mistakes. But yeah, I think they are funny. It's just, it's very repetitive, the structure of Pokemon, where they'll try to take why this goddamn one Pikachu, like
Yeah.
Well, see, no, but my thing about that though is, I don't know why they're still chasing it. They capture him in one episode. They take it to Giovanni, and he's like, "What the fuck? This is a fucking Pikachu. I don't give a shit. Go get better Pokemon." Like, why are they still trying to capture it for?
I get the feeling that Jesse and James are colorblind, and they think Pikachu is just shiny.
Yeah, okay, Jesse James, you found this Pikachu, and it's a shiny, that's great, but it's got terrible IVs, and its nature is awful. Like, what are you doing with this trash? Go.
Who caught this thing, Ted? Get the fuck out of here.
Okay. Number 37.
Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Oh, yep, fucking hell yeah.
Mr. Freeze and the Polar Bear duo.
I think out of all the Batman animated series villains, this is the one that got the most development. So,
Mr. Freeze he was the one where they did series before this series. Mr. Freeze was just an ice. He was basically just a man with an ice gun. He had no, like, the whole thing about him being it's weird though. He's called Mr. Freeze. He's technically a doctor. I don't know why he doesn't call himself Dr. Freeze, but whatever.
Well, because then all the other Doctor villains would want to be called like Dr. Ivy and Dr. Scarecrow.
It's because the Mr. part. It highlights that he's a married man,
I'm a man.
Whereas a doctor is just that you've got a doctorate,
Well, it's really also like so the backstory with like his dying wife and the accident where he tried to save her caused him to be this way. All that stuff was added by Paul Dini.
What in the animated series?
Yeah.
In the animated series, yeah. Before that he was literally just like
a guy with an ice gun.
That's
I think that the first ice villain in DC was probably Captain Cold from Flash.
Captain Cold.
Yeah. He started just as kind of a Captain Cold knockoff, but now thanks to the animated series Heart of Ice episode, he's probably DC's most famous ice villain because of how amazing.
For the better.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the Batman animated series influenced the direction of Batman in general.
Well, it was just that good of a fucking show.
My only thing, like, Freeze was used sparingly. I think in the original show, he has 4 appearances. 3 of those are good. One of them's fucking terrible. In the main series, he had Heart of Ice, and he appeared later on. And then he had the movie Sub-Zero, which I think is pretty fucking good.
And then he appears in Batman Beyond for some reason.
And there was the appearance where wasn't he like a head on legs?
Yes, I mean that's the one where I hate, because that takes place after Sub-Zero. His wife's alive, but and like at the end of Sub-Zero, you can kind of get the fact that he's going to give up his life of crime because he's happy his wife's alive and he's finally happy again. And then it's like, oh no, she left me, and now I'm a head with spider legs, and I'm gonna steal shit once again. That was probably the only massive misstep I think that the kind of Bruce Timm, Paul Dini camp ever did.
These are comic books. We can't have.
We gotta sell them toys.
It's
we can't sell Freeze with Nora Freeze accessories.
Yeah, you can't have a villain reform themselves in comics because eventually they want to bring. Like, I think.
Well, you can do it in a TV show, though, or a
movie.
Yeah.
Like, you say that there are a few cases where some good villains went the hero route for a while.
Yeah, but they always go back. Like I think like Lizard and Spider-Man
always go back, or they get retconned out of existence. Like I don't think the Riddler's stint as a good-natured sort of detective guy ever got resolved, did it?
No, New 52 happened during that.
Yeah.
That was
it just sort of
pre-52, wasn't it?
And retconned it back. So.
Okay.
But Mr. Freeze, great fucking character. Great, very happy with his placement. Very good.
So moving on to number 36, I guess. Well, screw IGN. We'll just make our own list. with blackjack and hookers.
I love that they used the meme picture for the picture of Bender. Though.
Yeah.
Shut up, baby. I know it.
Bender from Futurama is number 36.
Well, to be fair, Lewis, let's give him his full name. Bender Bendin Rodriguez.
Oh, well, hold on a moment.
Okay.
They're really cutting it close here because Bender, they said Futurama made its debut in 1999. They're really cutting it close with this one.
It technically counts.
I know, but it's about as like the Simpsons characters though, like because they technically appeared in the 80s. This is mostly a 90s thing, so
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, Bender was kind of the Bart. If you remember, like in early Simpsons, Bart was the breakout character. Most of the episodes in the first 2 seasons focused on him, and it was like Bender was like that in early Futurama.
Yeah.
Most episodes. I mean, obviously, the overarching story was Fry in the future, but Bender was like he was the character. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, this character is amazing!" It's like this kind of evil, drunken robot who likes to steal shit. He's like such a great character.
Then as the show developed, you realized every single one of these characters were very interesting in their own way. Because, you know, Bender may be breakout early in this show's run, but he's definitely not the reason why I watch Futurama. Because that show as a whole was, you know, I think I was too young for Futurama when it debuted. I say young, like 12 years old. And I really didn't grow to appreciate Futurama until college.
Yeah.
Because that show, you know, when you're not thinking of The Simpsons because of its visual design, you're seeing that there's a lot put here in the writing than the later half of The Simpsons wish they had.
Yeah.
Well, it's because unlike The Simpsons, Futurama does have kind of an overarching story across the entire series. Like it's not a big like. It isn't like you have to watch every episode, but certain episodes progress the kind of I guess in the first 4 seasons, the kind of overarching story was Fry trying to win Leela's heart, and then there's certain episodes throughout the first 4 seasons where they kind of progressed, and then after they had the movies and they brought it back, that kind of becomes more of a kind of continuity driven, again very very slightly, where like you have like most of it is just Fry and Leela's relationship.
Yeah.
Like how they go from just friends to, you know, being lovers.
Would you say it takes kind of a case closed Detective Conan approach, as in there's a whole lot of episodic crap, but every so often something happens to progress?
Yes. I mean, like generally you can watch any episode, but like there's just certain things or certain like they'll make a reference to something that happened like 2 seasons ago. Type of thing, you know, like
Just don't ever show me the goddamn dog episode.
You know what? You know, Ryan. Am I the only one who finds the episode about his brother so much more sad?
Well, that's really sad too, but I care more
It's
about
his fucking brother. Who gives a shit about the dog, man? It's fucking like again when he finds that grave and he just reads it. Here lies Philip J. Fry, named for his uncle to carry on his spirit. That fucking makes me cry every time I watch it. In fact, I'm gonna go cry now. That's so fucking sad.
Is Futurama like The Simpsons, where the first few seasons need some time to rev up, or is it good from the get go? No. Okay.
This was made when Simpsons were just past their height.
Okay, so I could just
Futurama season one stands out to any like the animation got better as it went on, but in terms of the jokes, season 1 is still fucking amazing.
Okay. Well,
Remember me.
I regret to inform everyone listening that of the top 90 animated characters, everything below number 35 is effectively shit, according to IGN, because number 35 is fucking Captain Planet.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
Oh man, Captain Planet.
He's a hero.
Captain, you know.
No one likes Captain Planet. He was lame even back then.
The only reason anybody watched Captain Planet, and this has been stated multiple times by multiple internet personalities, the only reason any of us watched this show was because nothing else was on at the time.
Yeah, it was like, what, 4:30 or what the hell was on at that point?
It was in between shows, and you watched it because it was probably, yeah, exactly. There's nothing else on Captain Planet?
Yeah, like,
no. I mean, if it was Don Cheadle's Captain Planet...
Yeah, it's
again.
Oh man, it's just like most of the time when Captain Planet came on, I just turn on Pokemon and play it until something interesting got on the television.
Captain Planet though does have the world's greatest weakness. His version of kryptonite is just being looked at by Adolf Hitler. Hitler is so evil that just being looked at by the Führer causes Captain Planet to lose all his powers.
Hitler had many things. Micro penis, a gas problem. He also had fucking pollution beams. Captain Planet is weak too. Man, that was a fucking terrible episode. It was also a terrible show in general.
That whole show was just fucking
Why is this
shit.
here?
Is Captain Planet better than Optimus Primal, Gareth?
But
Fuck no!
But you'll be pleased to know that immediately one notch above Captain Planet is SpongeBob SquarePants.
Huh? I'm surprised that he's not in the top 20. I'm
happy. I think SpongeBob is overrated.
One notch above Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
yeah,
SpongeBob doesn't die if he's looked at by Hitler. 10 out of 10 best character.
Okay, SpongeBob came out in 98, 99. So I was
It was 99.
99. So I was 6 years old when SpongeBob was brand new. So I was, I think, the perfect age for this TV show. And I still think it's spectacular. It is childish, it is goofy, and, it might be overrated, but I still think that it's some of the best cartoons that I've ever watched. So
Yeah, I would say there's a reason why it's still going on today, a show something has to have a certain quality to keep it going throughout the decades. It's not because it's overrated or anything like that. No, because SpongeBob SquarePants, well, at least, everything before the movie, and I only say that because I don't watch SpongeBob that much anymore, is some of the best cartoon I've ever seen in my life. I thought SpongeBob was going to tank hard when I first saw trailers for it because, I don't know, it just didn't hit the right spots for me. The trailer didn't do any justice. But then I gave it a shot, and I'm so fucking glad I did because this, to me, was my 90s, early 2000s cartoon. I love SpongeBob SquarePants.
the first season is great too, but I think that when they got the first animation boost, I think I loved those episodes a lot too.
Yeah. It excelled in visual humor for me because it just hit all the sweet. I love when they just go over the top. Like when the Texas episode, when
10-gallon hats.
When they piss off Sandy and they're running back to the Krusty Krab and Sandy's chasing them, and then she lassos Patrick and he falls back and he explodes for some fucking reason,
Or when Mrs. Puff always explodes in the driver's car. It's like, oh, SpongeBob, why?
That's more talking about the show itself, I realize, and not so much the character. As for SpongeBob, you know what? I don't really have an opinion on SpongeBob because I was more interested in the scenarios he got himself.
I think here's the thing: unlike a lot of main characters, SpongeBob was entertaining as well. Like if you think about the main character, like we were talking about Arnold. Arnold's the title character of Hey Arnold, but he's also the least interesting thing about Hey Arnold. Whereas, there are characters that we might like more than SpongeBob. Like I like Squidward more than SpongeBob personally, but SpongeBob is also consistently funny in his own show, which doesn't happen an awful lot. The main character is usually a tiny bit bland, so that makes him unique to me personally.
But he also complements the other characters that he's surrounded with very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And number 33 brings us back to Rocko's modern life for Heifer Wolf.
Oh, Heifer's fantastic. Like,
we're playing Spank the Monkey. They got away with that.
Let's go on and get some food at the Choky Chicken. And also, just like as the bullet point says, just like the previous character, both SpongeBob and Heifer, both voiced by Tom Kenny,
along with Spyro.
Yeah.
Tom Kenny voices a lot of stuff.
Tom Kenny was also the voice of Dog and Cat Dog.
Yeah.
Tom Kenny was Spyro's second voice. Spyro's first voice actor was actually Rocko. Yeah.
Give me Rocko. We don't have Rocko. Give me Rocko's friend.
That was a hoot!
Wait, does that mean that for the grim and dark SpongeBob reboot, they're going to get Elijah Wood to voice SpongeBob?
Yes. The Legend of SpongeBob.
Well, I thought you said there's a third Spyro game that was voiced by Filbert. But, no.
Turn the page. Wash your hands.
you save a dragon. You wash your hands.
Filbert's probably not going to be on the list, though. That's a shame.
No.
I liked Filbert a lot. Like
I always wanted to be a chimney sweep, bipping from roof to roof.
Number 32 is Brain from Pinky and the Brain. I loved this show.
Is 31 Pinky?
Yep.
No, Pinky is on later on the list though.
Oh, he's a lot higher. I like Brain more than Pinky. Pinky's
Again, when you're a kid, you watch it for Pinky. When you're an adult, you love Brain more. That's what it is. Even if he is based off a character no child in the 90s probably has any business knowing about. Orson Welles.
Oh, man.
Hey, Orson Welles was Unicron. Kids know him. But yeah, that's that voice, man. Those characters, Pinky, I'm going to hit you, and I'm going to enjoy this.
Animaniacs and Freakazoid. Oh man, those cartoons, that group of cartoons, just so good.
yeah.
For those, we have Steven Spielberg to thank. He was in charge of one of my favorite. This episode of Pinky and the Brain, I forget the context, but he goes to get an office job. He goes to get an office job, and like the guy, because he's wearing his like human-sized suit with a tiny head, and he comes in, and he goes like, where were you from? He goes, I'm part mouse, and he just runs. The guy doing the interview just runs out and says, "Tell everyone to go home. I've got a minority case in here." Like, Jesus fuck. And then they're going through all their policies. Like here's our policy on like vacation. Here's our policies on medical leave. And then like one little pages, and he pulls out this fucking mile-high book and says, "Here's our policies on sexual harassment." Like, what the fuck?
No, I still really remember the episode where they formed the Beatles, and then and then Matt Yoko Ono comes along and ruins it.
Or the episode where Brain is in those commercials about, they're always after my lucky smokes. It's just him dressed as a leprechaun smoking.
And I also like that. I also like the time where they made Brain literally do the Orson Welles peas commercial.
Oh, I love that. You tell me how to say in July, and I'll go down on you.
Yeah, the episode I always remember is that in order to take over the world, Brain builds a papier-mâché world next to the real world, and it gets everybody to move to that one with free t-shirts. This world's made out of papier-mâché, but hey, free t-shirts.
I'd say puberty was inordinately kind to you. That was the Dolly Parton interview.
Yes! Oh my God! That's puberty. You don't get jokes like that on kids shows nowadays. No. It's a shame, man. That's so fucking good.
The Warners got away with a lot of shit back then.
Of course they did.
Good night, everybody.
All right, number 31 is. Now I've seen this guy plenty of times. Around the same time as Professor Katz, the character we saw earlier. It was Duckman.
Duckman.
I didn't watch this show. I just knew that he was voiced by Jason Alexander. Which they really hyped up because of Seinfeld and all that. But
I'd rather watch Seinfeld.
Wait, what character did Jason Alexander play on Seinfeld?
George
Costanza.
The only time I've ever seen Duckman in anything apart from this list, and his eyes are attached to his glasses, by the way. That's creepy. The only time I've ever seen Duckman in anything was when the Nostalgia Critic brought him up in his side video vlog thing on comedy.
I've never even really heard of this character before.
Am I the only person who's seen this show?
Apparently,
I'm gonna assume yes because I never watched it.
I didn't watch it religiously, but like Duckman was kind of. I'm surprised he's this high. I would say that Duckman feels more of a kind of like 79 lister on a show like this. It was a funny show. George Costanza had a great voice. It was a funny show. It's basically this he plays like this kind of terrible private eye. And like it was a funny show. I don't remember too much of it, but I'm surprised again. Not better than Optimus Primal. What the fuck, IGN? But whatever.
Well, a number 30 brings us back to Rocko's modern life again.
Mrs.
For
Bighead?
Rocko.
Oh, Mrs. Bighead probably isn't on. I love her way more than Ed. Oh, Ed.
Oh, Ed! Rocko, come zip me up.
But yeah, number 30 is Rocko himself.
Thank you, really, really big man. You've certainly touched us with your bigness.
Yeah.
I love the fact that the third bullet point just says, appeared as a presumed phone sex operator in a scene once. Okay.
Presumably was outright fucking Steve.
I know. Oh, baby. Oh, in fact, that next to him, there's a sign that says, like, be polite, be courteous, be hot.
Yeah.
And he's just saying, oh, baby, oh, baby, oh, baby. This show got away with fucking murder.
Also, to his credit, he was the creator of the first YouTube poop.
Yeah, wacky. I was gonna bring up Wacky Deli when we were at Hefner for a bit.
I am the cheese. I am the best.
I am the cheese. I am the greatest character on the show. I am better than both the bologna and the salami combined. Jesus Christ, I love that animated episode though. When you're an animator, you get all the little in jokes that you didn't get as a kid, and to me, this was one of my perennial Nicktoons in the early '90s, and I have like the entire set now.
Oh wow!
It's been collecting. It's been
It's
been collecting dust for a while next to the Street Fighter movie.
I really want to watch. I want to go out of my way to watch some of these old TV shows again, but it's so time consuming to watch a TV show. Is unfortunately the thing. You can really only watch one at a time, and if you want to play video games alongside it, it's almost impossible.
But I'll binge watch Daredevil.
Well,
oh, fuck yeah!
true.
Well, Daredevil's new. So.
Yeah.
Well, Daredevil's also written and presented in a way that promotes binge watching because it was released all on the same day, and it's essentially a 13-hour movie broken up into episodes.
And you also have to realize that most of these old cartoons have like 3 or 4 seasons, or 3 or 4 good seasons, I should say. So like it's you got to set aside like probably about 20-30 hours to watch it all. So
yeah.
I always liked Rocko as a character because it's Rocko's Modern Life is kind of like the correct way to do a cat dog type show. Because Rocko's Modern Life, it's kind of like Rocko's the ultimate straight man living in this fucking crazy world.
Yeah, and the only one that had any real malice towards Rocko was Ed Bighead.
And the dog.
And
who just violently attacks Rocko in every season. Yeah. But like it's basically Rocko just trying to live his life and get by in this kind of crazy crap shop world.
The intro, which is one of the most messed up things you'll ever watch, for the record. It's like being on drugs.
A baby Rocko gets punched out by a clock, and grows. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, a lot of this stuff was seen as being for kids, but a lot of it's really informed by stuff only adults are going to really relate to.
Yep.
Yeah, but kids aren't dumb though. They know when something is has more meat to it, and when it's just fluff.
Sometimes, a lot of how a lot of stuff just flies over our heads when we're kids. Yeah, that's bound to happen a lot for a cartoon like Rocko's Modern Life, or more especially Cat Dog, because its lack of subtlety makes it look a lot shallower than it's trying to be.
Do we have anything else to say about Rocko?
No, I think we quoted it to death already.
Number 29 is from Tiny Toon Adventures. It's Elmyra Duff.
What the fuck?
Well, she is one of the more memorable characters from Tiny Toons, I will say.
But again, this high, and the fact that as the third bullet point shows, she fucking ruined Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah, no one likes that.
Elmyra joined Pinky and the Brain for their own.
Yes, for a series. Yeah, it's called Pinky, Elmyra, and the Brain, and the fact that the theme song correctly summed up the entire show. So Pinky and the Brain share a new domain. It's what the network wants. Why bother to complain? And then it just ended with every episode. Ended with Brains going, "I deeply resent this."
Oh man,
it's what the
network wants. Why bother to complain?
I forgot all about that lyric.
Oh man, it was truly a different time.
It was like that era, like the Tiny Toons was a great show, and Elmyra is a funny. Elmyra is a character who works better as a side character than when she's the main focus.
Yeah.
Because she's so fucking annoying. She works better in like scenes.
Yeah, but of course,
Yeah.
you know, the network, the decision makers aren't going to realize that because they're too busy doing other things to watch the shows that they're making decisions about.
Yeah,
you know?
they just go like, what character sells the most toys? Okay, that means that the kids like this character, put them in more episodes. That's basically their mindset, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, although I can't imagine Elmyra outselling like Buster and Babs, you know.
Yeah. Well, in any case,
What's number
28 is
28?
Pinky.
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 I don't understand why
Yeah.
Pinky's like 5 spots above Brain though.
He doesn't know either. He looks really confused.
Well, because Pinky is the he's the comedic character. I mean, I'm sure we've all read the fan theory that Pinky's the smart one and Brain is not, which is it's dumb. But like Pinky is the character who like Brain is one note, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean Brain. Everything involving Brain is just let's take over the world. Let's take over the world. And he has different plans, and Brain's a great character, and he's funny. But Pinky has a lot more dimension to him, which again makes him a better character than the Brain. Also, just but the running gags of Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering? I don't know, Brain. Me and Pippi Longstocking. What would the children look like? And shit like that is just fantastic.
And the one time he's put in charge of what is it? What's the main financial block of the government?
The Treasury?
No, it's something else. He's basically put in charge of the financial situation, and he basically conquers the world by owning everything.
There's one episode where they go to steal gold, and they go into like this big gold vault. Pinky just goes, "Wow, Brain, this is more exciting than an episode of DuckTales." I was just like, "What a fucking random comment to make."
It was basically just a middle finger at Disney at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. But like Pinky, you know, Pinky got Rob Paulson his Emmy award, so you know, I mean, I was always more of a Yakko fan, but you know, Pinky's a great fucking character.
Well, we do kind of know Ash. Tell him to get his dad in here.
Narf.
Yeah. No, number 27 brings us to SpongeBob SquarePants' Patrick Starr.
I don't know if I would not put Patrick above SpongeBob. I mean, granted, Patrick is probably one of my favorite dumb idiots from cartoons, but I think, especially later seasons, he goes too far, I think, as well. And I just personally, I prefer SpongeBob, Squidward, Mr. Krabs. Patrick is still one of my favorites, but he's kind of in my lower ranking of SpongeBob characters, personally. Yeah, that's basically all I have to say about him.
I like early Patrick compared to future Patrick. I mean, like the seasons above and beyond, because they really flanderize his stupidity.
Yeah,
you know, because if it were me, I would think Patrick and SpongeBob were pretty neck and neck to character quality.
Yeah,
because back then he had his dumb moments, but he was also he took you by surprise a lot by showing moments of brilliance, and I think like Doodle Bob. It's pretty good, SpongeBob, but it's lacking basic construction, and your perspective leaves a lot to be desired. And it was like, Patrick said that.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, as a show grows in popularity and people and the decision-making jobs get passed from person to person, a lot of the people who make those decisions just tend to look at what what was successful, and that tends to flatten certain things, and that flanderizing is one way of that happening.
Yeah, I think Steven Hillenburg left the show after the movie, or shortly after the movie, so I'm not surprised that without the series creator, the network just did whatever the hell they wanted to with it, so, yeah, basically.
Like, what do the kids like about Patrick? He's dumb. Okay, we'll just play that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to number 26, we have The Tick from The Tick.
This is something that I wanted to watch but never got around to.
It was a good show, but not on the level of Freakazoid.
No, but Well, I would say it was definitely more adult-oriented than Freakazoid.
Yeah.
Whether or not it hit the same spot in comedy, that's up for debate. But it was definitely, this kind of cartoon now would be on Adult Swim.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah,
not
yeah.
Fox Network. And for that, I think I haven't watched Chicken in a long time, admittedly. But I did remember watching the hell out of this show back in the mid-90s.
It was fun, yeah.
Some of the adult issues they deal with, they could be, some of them are really mundane, but damn, do they really hit you, like trying to merge onto I-95 or like interstate traffic. Back when they didn't have like merging lanes and you had to use the ramp, and it's like 2 minutes. It's like 2 minutes of them trying to get on the interstate. But it's like, wait, after this truck, we go right now. No, wait, stop. That terrifies you. But damn, is it so relatable? And that's what the tick was.
That's great.
Kids won't get it, but adults sure as hell do.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem. I watched this when I was a kid, so yeah. But it was a fun thing. Also, the tick has a really, really fantastic chin.
Yeah.
Better or worse than the Crimson Chin.
Which, as we all know, was a requirement for Western superhero cartoons at the time. And that's why Spider-Man and the X-Men were never as popular.
Number 25 is Goku. He's the greatest character ever. He should be number 1 because he's Goku.
Yeah, Goku, son.
Okay, this is another iffy choice. Not so much of the character itself, but I think Dragon Ball Z is an 80s property.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball started in 86.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball Z though.
Yeah, according to Japan, but we all got it in the 90s, so...
Okay, if we're going through that mentality, then okay, we can give it a pass.
Yeah, the West thinks of it as a 90s thing because Toonami and all of that.
Yeah, you're right.
And I'm sure that Japanese episodes
Never
went
watched it.
well into the 90s, considering how long Dragon
Well,
Ball...
it ended in like 95, and GT started in 96, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know,
Goku is a fine enough character for what he is, but you see, he started out in Dragon Ball, which was a comedy manga, not so much an action one. And Dragon Ball Z was more... It took the series, it tried to keep some of the comedy elements, and turned more toward a serious action bent. Goku's character didn't translate completely well to that, but nobody cared because he'd already gotten a full series of development before that point.
Well, he went from, comedy to Japanese Superman.
Yeah,
I mean,
but basically, his character stops developing, like, completely pretty much after Vegeta. And, you could count the Frieza saga as well, but he doesn't really do a whole lot there except for fighting Frieza.
Yeah, he gets angry, turns Super Saiyan, and then, he's just Goku.
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah, the Dragon Ball Z was, if I remember correctly, supposed to be about Gohan originally.
It was. In fact, Z was originally supposed to end at Cell, when Goku sacrificed himself and Gohan killed Cell, which to me would have been the perfect ending, because it highlights what the original intent of Z was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a Gohan show, not so much we have to rely on Goku for every fucking thing, which GT took, by the way, and exaggerated up 10 times.
Yeah, even though at the beginning of GT, it started out seeming like it might have been a Pan show.
No, to me, it felt like, just to go on this tangent a bit, it felt like more of an ensemble show. Goku, Pan, and Trunks, but it almost, after like
Pan and Trunks never did anything,
became the Goku show, and it
Yeah.
never
Well,
recovered.
Pan is part Saiyan, right? So couldn't
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
she could have, they could have had her become like Super Saiyan and all that other BS.
You're right. They could have.
They
they
could
didn't.
have.
I
but
have no idea what you
unfortunately-
nerds are talking about.
Unfortunately, that is a fan fantasy that no one was able to live out until Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Yeah. The Saiyan heritage just became an excuse to give her a reason to why she can fly and shoot projectiles, even though they classified in Z that Videl can fly and do all that stuff as a human, as long as you channel your
Because
energy.
Krillin can do it in Dragon Ball Z. Krillin can fly.
Yeah. Krillin was a human.
Tien was a human.
Tien was a human. Yamcha was.
No, Tien has 3 eyes. He's not human.
That was probably the most annoying thing about Pan, though. She was a half Saiyan, quarter
she's
Saiyan,
quarter.
whatever,
Quarter.
Saiyan something, which is the one race at this point in the Dragon Ball mythos that's worth a goddamn, and they didn't take the chance to capitalize. She is approximately as effectual as Videl was in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, think about it.
Gareth, as the Dragon Ball Z aficionado that you so obviously are.
No, he loves One Piece so much more. He got his friend TJ to begrudgingly to watch One Piece.
Guys, I think we can all agree Goku should be higher because he's clearly the best Pokemon there ever was. Goku, use the punch attack!
Goku's from Digimon. What are you, stupid?
Goku armor digivolve to Goku with yellow hair. Okay.
Nintendo, if you're putting an anime character from Nisekoi into Super Mario Maker, why can't Goku be in Smash Brothers?
He is! Cloud's there!